there, it's me, Jane, and boy do I have a story to share. It all started in 5th grade. My best friend Sarah and I had this epic showdown over a boy. Yes, a boy. Can you believe it? Sarah yelled at me, "You totally like Jake, don't you?" "What? No way, Sarah. He's all yours," I said. "You're lying, Em. I saw you doodling his name in your notebook." That's when things went south. Because of that silly fight, I made a vow. No more boys, no more drama. Every time I liked a guy, I'd end up writing him a heartfelt letter. I'd write about my crush, my hopes, the whole shebang. But here's the kicker. I never sent any of them. Imagine that. A bunch of love letters just sitting in my drawer with their names and addresses on it. By the time I hit 17, I had written like 5 of these confessionals. My love life? It was practically non-existent. And the boys who did have a thing for me, well, they just didn't spark that magic, you know? So, what happened to these letters? You should like and subscribe to find that out. So, there I was with a stash of unsent love letters, each one a hidden chapter of my heart. Lily, my younger sister, being the restless soul she is, had grown tired of our weekend movie marathons. One evening, she comes up to me, hands on her hips, and says, "Jane, you're so weird. Why don't you ever go out? Because you're always here. I feel bad going out too. I'm stuck in this house when I could be having adventures." Me, in my typical big sister knows best tone. "Lily, I'm fine. You should go out and have fun. Don't worry about me." But Lily wasn't having any of it. "No way, Jane. I'm not leaving you here to turn into a hermit." Now, here's where things get interesting. One day, while I'm at school, Lily finds my secret memory box. You know, the one with all my unsent love letters? She reads them and gets this crazy idea in her head. If Jane won't send these, then I will. It's time she got a boyfriend. The next day at school, suddenly, there he is. My most recent crush, Alex. My heart skips a beat, but then he comes straight up to me with a serious look. "Jane, can we talk for a sec?" Me trying to act cool. "Sure, what's up?" That's when he drops the bombshell. "So, I got this letter from you." Me stammering. What letter? I don't know what you're talking about." He opens the letter and starts reading a few lines. And just like that, I feel the world spinning. It's one of my unsent love letters. The one meant for him. Before I can even process what's happening, everything goes black and I faint right there in the hallway. The next thing I know, I'm on the ground with a bunch of students crowded around me. Someone saying, "Maybe she's too cold. A kiss might warm her up." And guess who steps up? Yep, Alex. He leans down, and I feel this light peck on my lips. It's enough to jolt me back to consciousness. There I am, sitting on the cold floor, utterly bewildered. How in the world did my secret letter end up in Alex's hands? I can't even put 2 and 2 together. In a daze, I stand up, mumble something about needing air, and just bolt out of school. I'm running all the way home, my mind racing a mile a minute. Just as I'm about to reach my front door, I see him, my neighbor, Michael. We were best friends as kids, but things got weird when he started dating my older sister, Jessica. Oh, did I mention I'm one of 3 sisters? Yeah, it's a full house. Michael's standing there with this confused look on his face. "Jane, what's going on? Don't you know I'm dating Jessica? Why would you send me this letter?" He's holding another one of my unsent love letters. My jaw drops. "What letter?" I ask, totally shocked. I can't believe he got the letter too. He looks at me, almost hurt. "If you had these feelings, why didn't you talk to me earlier?" I'm on the verge of tears now. "Listen, Michael, I can't talk about this right now, but please, if you ever cared about me, don't tell anyone about this. Especially not Jessica. She's at her college these days, and just please keep this between us. Michael nods, looking as confused as I feel.
Okay, Jane, I won't say anything, but we need to talk about this later.
I rush into the house, my mind spinning with a million thoughts. The first thing I do is dart to my room, straight to where I keep my memory box. My heart sinks when I find it. The box is there, but it's empty. Not a single letter left inside. I stand there, baffled, wondering how on earth they could have vanished. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to me, Lily is in her room, a storm of worry on her face. She's thinking, oh no, Jane is going to freak out if she finds out I sent those letters. What have I done? Back in my room, I'm trying to piece it all together. I remember Dad talking about donating some old stuff. Frantic, I rushed downstairs to ask him, Dad, did you see any letters when we were clearing out stuff for donations? My voice is shaky, a mix of hope and dread. He looks puzzled.
Donations? Oh, you mean the old books and stuff? No, I didn't see any letters, Jane. Why? Is something missing?
My mind races. Could someone who got the donations have found and sent the letters? The thought makes my stomach churn. I have no idea who could have sent them. The next day was a blur of anxiety. I had a test at school, but all I could think about was how I was going to face Alex after yesterday's drama. As I wandered the hallways, lost in my thoughts, someone else caught my attention. Kevin, another guy for my class. Suddenly, Kevin pulls me aside into an empty classroom. His expression is a mix of confusion and annoyance.
Jane, we need to talk,
he says, his tone serious. I brace myself, knowing exactly what this is about. Kevin,
How could you do this to me?
He interrupts, holding up one of my letters. My heart sinks. Another one of my unsent love letters has found its way to the wrong person. Before I can even respond, he adds,
Don't you know I'm not into girls? How could you think to send me that letter?
I'm speechless, my cheeks burning with embarrassment. Kevin, I'm so sorry. Please, just let me explain. He looks at me a bit softer now.
This doesn't make sense, Jane. How did this happen?
Taking a deep breath, I spill the beans. You're not the only one. I wrote those letters to a few guys, 5 in total, but I never sent them. I don't know how you all got them. Kevin's expression changes from anger to concern.
That's rough, Jane. But who else did you write to?
My mind races as I think about the remaining letters. There are still 2 guys who might have received them. I have no idea what's going to happen when they find out. Kevin nods, understanding.
Just take it one step at a time, Jane. You'll get through this.
Reeling from the conversation with Kevin, I barely make it to class when suddenly our English professor calls me aside. The room goes silent as he speaks.
Jane, this is a very serious matter,
he says, holding up yet another one of my unsent letters.
How could you write something like this to me? Do you understand the implications?
My world comes crashing down around me. Professor, I never meant for you to read that. It was private, just my thoughts. I'm so sorry. He looks stern, but not unkind.
I'm not going to tell anyone, but consider this your final warning.
As he leaves, I'm left standing in the hallway shaking. I'm about to faint when suddenly I feel a shove from behind. It's Sarah, furious and red-faced.
How dare you?
She screams.
How dare you write a letter to my boyfriend and then kiss him?
I'm stunned. I never kissed him, Sarah. He did, and I didn't even know about the letter until...
Oh, really? So he wrote you a letter too?
She interrupts.
We fought as kids over boys, and you're still doing this? Out of all the boys in the world, you couldn't find anyone else?
I'm speechless. The humiliation, the accusations, it's all too much. I feel like I'm living a nightmare, and I have no idea how to wake up from it. Lost in my thoughts, I'm standing there, still reeling from Sarah's accusations. You all must be wondering who she is, right? She's my childhood friend, the one I mentioned earlier, the one I had that big fight with over a boy. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? She's a big reason why my dating life turned into a series of unsent love letters. And now, here I am, accused of sending one to her boyfriend. It's like a messed up circle that I can't escape. I turned to Sarah, my voice barely above a whisper. Sarah, I'm so sorry. This was never supposed to happen. I never meant to send that letter to your boyfriend. I leave her standing in the hallway and head to my next class. The test I have to take feels like the smallest problem I have right now. After the test, I can't get out of school fast enough. I just want to go home, crawl into my bed, and forget this day ever happened. Back at home, there I am, slouched on the couch, mindlessly watching TV with a tub of ice cream as my only comfort. It's one of those days where everything feels upside down, and I just want to hide from the world. Just then, Lily walks in, her eyes full of concern. Jane, what's going on? You look miserable. I let out a sigh. Lily, my life's a disaster. All those letters I wrote, they somehow got sent out. I've embarrassed myself in front of everyone at school. How can I ever face them again? Lily sits next to me, looking as perplexed as I feel. Before we can say another word, the front door opens and in walks Jessica, our eldest sister, back for the Christmas holidays from college. My heart skips a beat. Jessica, who's currently dating Michael, one of the guys who received my letter. I'm frozen, thinking about how to handle this new complication. But as she sees us, her face lights up with joy. Hey, my favorite sisters, she exclaims, spreading her arms wide for a group hug. All three of us embrace, a moment of happiness amidst the chaos of my life. It's a bittersweet feeling. I'm thrilled to see Jessica, but the dread of her finding out about the letter to Michael hangs over me like a dark cloud. As we're all catching up, the doorbell rings. It's Michael, our neighbor, and Jessica's boyfriend. The look on his face spells trouble. Jessica, can we talk outside for a minute? He asks, his voice serious. Jessica, puzzled, follows him outside. Through the window, we see them talking, and then Jessica's face drops in shock. What? You want to break up with me? She exclaims, her voice carrying through the open window. Michael nods. Yes, I think I have feelings for Jane. He gestures towards me, and I feel my stomach turn. I rush to the door, flustered and upset. Michael, what are you talking about? I don't love you. That letter was something I wrote a long time ago. Just get lost. Jessica, still in disbelief, steps in. Didn't you hear her? Can't you see she doesn't feel the same way? Just go away, Michael. He looks between the two of us, confusion and realization drawing on his face. He mumbles an apology and walks away, leaving both Jessica and me stunned on the doorstep. I turned to Jessica, and her reaction was like a punch to the gut. How could you do this to me, Jane? She asks, her eyes filled with hurt and confusion. I try to explain, but words fail me as she rushes to her room, slamming the door shut behind her. Just then, the doorbell rings again. It's like a revolving door of drama today. Standing there is Alex, my current crush. Jane, I need to tell you something, he says earnestly. I'm overwhelmed and snap. I don't have time for all this, Alex. But he's persistent. I like you, Jane, and I know you're in trouble right now. Kevin, he told me everything. I just wanted you to know I like you. We can talk later when things settle down. Before I can even process his confession, I head back inside, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. That's when Lily, looking guilty and remorseful, approaches me. Jane, I'm so sorry. I was the one who sent those letters. I thought it would help, but I just made everything worse. After taking a moment to let this all sink in, we decided to go together to Jessica's room. We explain everything. The letters, Lily's misguided attempt to help, and the resulting chaos. It takes a while, but Jessica finally understands and forgives us. And about Alex, well, as it turns out, we start dating, and it's like a ray of light in the chaos of my life. I know, you must be wondering, how did we start dating when he was already with someone else? That's a story for another time. For now, just know that sometimes life takes unexpected turns, and things work out in the most surprising ways.